the Vinyl Verdict. I'm Jacob.
I'm Michael.
And today we're going to be talking about our review of the Joey Molland concert on September 29th, 2023 at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas. Talk about the set list a little bit, and we'll talk about our impressions of just the show overall. So he came on the stage before the song and kind of did his own sound check and was tuning the guitar, which I wasn't expecting.
It was a casual beginning.
So, anyway, yeah, Badfinger, Joey Molland, joined the band all those years ago, and
he opened with Baby Blue. I wasn't expecting that. That's usually one of the ones he saves, I think, as something towards the end, but given the popularity of the song with Breaking Bad, I guess he decided to whip that one out right away. And I don't think there was much banter with the audience. He went straight into I Don't Mind. Different energy compared to Baby Blue. So I think there's a nice transition there. Into Suitcase. So classic Badfinger, but more of the Joey side of it. And he does his style to the jam on there. And it's not the slide guitar solo, but something a little more rocky.
Which it originally, I guess, was, although years ago all we knew was the George Harrison produced slide guitar version. It was Leon Russell on it.
Come and Get It was up fourth, so they were blasting through the hits. And they were joking about how high that is to sing and having some difficulties there.
the group was and so was talking to George in Apple Records. George says, you know, that record's a big hit for you all over the world, guys, and I'm really made up for you. You're going to make a lot of money. You're going to have lovely houses. You're going to have Ferraris. It's going to be girls all over. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. There is a drawback, and the only drawback to the whole thing is you've got to sing that song every day for the rest of your life. And ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? So here it is, in the original key, which is kind of getting rarer in that.
And in general, there was banter that evening about difficulty in hitting the high notes.
Into Money Flying, the medley, and a story about the medley, usually of it being a way of trying to compete with songs that were getting longer.
So, Money and Flying, two songs. Songs were getting longer. We were getting older. And what are we going to do to get into this thing where the songs are getting longer? We've got to get into it. Well, you know what? We took two of our short little Badfinger songs and stuck them together.
Those two songs are something unique in the catalog, so he likes playing those. It works well. Flying, they're playing it in the original key, and it's, again, really high to sing.
I think when it was originally recorded, they sped up Joey's voice because Tom sings the second verse to bring it to a higher pitch, which worked. It worked. I recall that.
Yeah, but hard to play it live.
Yes.
Take It All is the first cover that Joey then hands off, and the pianist sang that one. It was the first show the pianist had played with the band. I think he did a nice job on the song. Again, I don't know why they need to play Take It All. If I was gonna, do a tribute to Pete Ham, and his songwriting wouldn't be the first song I'd think of after the hits. I know Joey consistently likes to perform that one. And he does a nice little guitar solo in the middle there and everything, so.
And the new keyboardist also doubled as a, rhythm guitar when he had to in little select spots throughout the evening as well.
Into track 7, Happy. One of Joey's favorites from his solo career. That one got pulled out, easy rock song. And then 8, Day After Day, so we get the third hit of the night. That one always comes off pretty well live. I think that's, even though the band struggled to play it at the time, I think Joey's Badfinger can do justice to that.
Well, in the past, he's actually sang it at times himself, but I think it's a good move to turn it over to the bassist, I believe, to Mark Healy to sing it.
It actually starts a trilogy, 3 songs that are sung by, not Joey, but yeah, Mark Healy sings Day After Day, he sings War for the Dark, and he sings Midnight Sun. I think all 3 were Mark Healy in a row.
Yes.
You know, and I think it's good to work in other songs. No one else is playing War for the Dark live in 2023, so I think it's important that someone does it, but I'd also like to change it up. I've seen since the 90s, these are the same Pete Ham songs that Joey picks to play, so it'd be interesting to pick some stuff maybe from the later catalog as well. We were actually saying, I don't think there's a single song from the self-titled album, Wish You Were Here, that were played that night. Normally he does like Meanwhile Back at the Ranch.
So come to think of it, no, there wasn't, you're right.
Especially considering he wrote half of Ass, you'd think he'd bring some of those songs into it. But yeah, so War for the Dark, Midnight Sun, and then Without You, which started with an a cappella of just Joey singing, or doing the solo unaccompanied, and then singing the first verse on his own. Being in Vegas and seeing it, it's a little bit hard to watch.
It emphasizes that, as he said, something to the effect when he did that the Badfinger version, which of course is never looked at in the same way as the million-selling Nilsson one is, but the Badfinger one had its own kind of stripped-down rock beauty to it, and so maybe he extended it another step with the a cappella thing, perhaps a little too far. But I like the idea of getting back to the basic, the Badfinger track of it, including the organ as it fades out at the end. And
I would almost break the set into thirds. So the first third is much more classic Badfinger hits, everything trying to, Without You's coming a little bit later, but most of the hits are in that first third. Then he hits more of the tribute, the Pete Ham stuff, some of the deeper cuts. And then the last third we're getting to is just like Joey stuff, like the Joey side of his own songwriting. And so we get I Got You, Vampire Wedding, No More in a row. Which is a nice little...
I would say that was my favorite part of the show. Probably tired, he flew in. There was a lot of things stacked against feeling fresh and all that, but when it comes into Joey's songs, I mean, he just never disappoints me. I love the beginnings, how he generates the energy and puts it into the song, and then even with this group, which was not the greatest Badfinger that was ever on the stage, but they were behind him, and when they come in, it's still a rock unit coming in, and I always get a kick out of that. His songs really don't miss.
Yeah, He's got great energy, and it's in the right register to sing it and everything, and you can do a little solo on that sounded really nice. And then Vampire Wedding into No More. It's usually a medley. I think they hesitated a little where they kind of ended Vampire Wedding and it wasn't as smooth as it could have been. It works to go into the next song, and he does a nice solo at the end of that, and we posted that full video for No More. I think that was definitely a highlight. And then he ends the set with No Matter What, so saving one hit for the end, and probably one of the harder ones to sing and recreate. And we assumed the show was over, especially with a Badfinger related show. If you get the 5 songs, the 5 hits from the prime, you assume that's it. You're not saving anything for the encore. What encore could there be? I don't know if it was planned. I kind of think it wasn't planned. But after everyone was standing and,
It took a while.
Yeah, it took a while. He came back and he did 3 more songs and deep cuts. He did Mean Mean Jemima and Long Long Way Back Home. 2 songs from his solo career. Sounded really nice. I put Long Long Way Back Home online as well. I think the solo there is really well done. And then yeah, he ended with the Sweet Tuesday Morning, just him on electric guitar, which he's done before in the middle of a set. It was a little bit strange. I think it ended after about a minute and a half, so it was a very short version of the song.
It was cut a little short.
Sweet Tuesday morning, you came and you smiled, and all of my fears, they have left me.
But it was nice to get an encore, and I like hearing those deeper cuts.
I liked it as well. I think he really shone on the general vibe, and then at the end, quite a prolonged. I enjoy the lead fill. I enjoy hearing him pick out the notes. It gives me old Badfinger feelings. And No More is a powerful song, and just listening to his climb through the octaves at the end. And I mean, I still love it.
As I said in the videos, he acknowledged it was a bit of an off night. I think they were a little under rehearsed.
I promise next time we come back, we'll do a real show for you. Okay, so I am sorry, I do apologize. I don't know what the hell happened.
They're not doing a big tour. This was really like the only show of the last couple months. It seemed like maybe they were contractually obligated to play because the announcer had said, you know, they were supposed to play during COVID, I think, and then it got pushed out. So maybe he still had to go back and fulfill one concert, but there was no advertising for him anywhere at the venue or in the room. Nowhere we could see a sign that said Joey Molland or Badfinger. No merch, no CDs to buy, no t-shirts. But he came out to Vegas, and we came out to Vegas. We're not from there, just to make this possible and see Joey in 2023. So, yeah, we enjoyed it. And he did play a full set. That was an hour and a half of a 75-year-old guy.
I'm glad and grateful that we were there. And I didn't go to see the original Badfinger. I went to see Joey, and it's plenty, great enough. And it was great to see him. And none of us are getting younger, but to see him and remember the effect all those years ago of him and Badfinger, it was a thrill to be there. I'm glad we went.
Yeah, just the image of him with that Gibson SG facing us with the little red guitar. And it was frustrating, though, how he kept turning around every solo, basically. He would turn towards the drummer to lock in, but we didn't really get to see his work on the fretboard too much, but obviously maybe a little bit not liking the bright lights and everything. So, and we met him after the show. We got to go to the stage, and the Vinyl Verdict met Joey Molland finally. So,
well, we've met before. Each of us have met before, but it was a brief minute or two, but it was a wonderful memory.
Yeah, we thanked him for the music and for doing the show, and hopefully we'll see him again.
Yeah.